Ooh, this seat is too far back. Whoops, I forgot how to bring it forward. Son of a gun, I guess I'm not sitting here as often as I was, so I forgot how it works. Okay. I don't see anybody here, but I do see one thumbs up. That's an interesting, there we go. Oh, hi, Lauren. First, exactly. Hi, Myra. Happy to see you. That's reminded me of a song. Happy to see you, bleibe recht to stay. Ah, yeah. Good to see you. You think it's funny? Oh, okay. I think, well, are you referring to being first or something else? Not quite sure. Oh, this thing is not wanting to sit straight up. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I am late once again, and I will wait for some more people to come into the room. We have started, wow, this makeup is a little funky today. It really is. I think I'm starting to fall into the category of Linda's description of me as a drag queen. I think my eye makeup's a little bit much. This was the tutorial, well, not tutorial, it was a get ready with me that I had promised to do and I did today. You thought it was? Yeah, it's just, I think a little bit too much. I worked with different palettes today. These were older ones and it more fallout, and it just was a whole different way of application. So it was interesting. I thought that Sheila did, hi Mary, see you again. I thought Sheila did a great job with her first premiere. I thought that went well. So she sort of suggested that I try to do that as well. So I think maybe I'm going to try to do that with the video that I did today. I was editing it before and I have not yet uploaded it, but I will. And probably have it on so I could possibly do a premiere on it for tomorrow evening. I thought she did great. I really did. And she looked fantastic. She really did. That's one heck of a fake tan. I don't know if I could stand that stuff because I don't know if I could stand the smell. I really, that's not a good thing for me. So, yeah, that could be an issue. She did. I thought she did a wonderful job. And she looks absolutely great. I'm happy for her. She looks wonderful. Exactly. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, for her first time, she absolutely came across as a pro. So I was duly impressed. So I think it's good. I think I mentioned it in the video, which you will see tomorrow, those of you who choose to watch. But I have made a decision. Her channel is called Life with Lily. That's Lillie. And Lily is her dog. So, yeah, I met Life with Lily, right? I met Sheila very early on in my foray into this world of mature beauty on YouTube, and it's, my God, it's it's well over 2 years at this point. You're exhausted. I thought you did a great job. You certainly did. In your usual kind of quick, snappy version of it. Yeah. Um, yeah, I was very impressed with it. I liked it a lot. You don't know her? Oh, she's wonderful, Lauren. Wait, she comes on here. You must know her from here. You asked her if you had to behave. She wouldn't know what to do with you if you had to behave. Yeah. I don't think you could behave if you tried, could you? Hi, Ange. Back again. This is round two. Exactly. So I am really happy that we all had a chance to be there with her. Hi, Ange. It is good to see you. I have made a decision, however. I actually well, I didn't call them because what happened was I went online to take a look at the different packages that they had, and I got so confused because they offer phenomenal packages. All of these providers do, as long as you're not with them. You know, they'll do it for new people, which I think is a little bit, forgive me, but it's a little bit ass backwards because if you have people who stay with you and are loyal to you, it seems to me those are the ones you should be good to, not the people who happen into the service and may or may not choose to stay. So I could be wrong, but that's my take on it. So then I had actually gotten a call from Barbara, and we had chatted for quite a while. Exactly, exactly. That's what they do. So she had contacted me and she was telling me about the VoIP, the voice over internet protocol phones, which I really sort of knew about, but she told me the one that she had, and I sort of looked that up. And it did say that, I don't remember if it's like between, you can keep your phone number, which is something that had, concerned me. And they said that it takes, oh, thanks, Denise. Direct TV. Yeah, and I don't want a contract, obviously, with anybody. First of all, I just don't think I'm going to be here that long in this house that a contract would work and whatever. So I think that I need to, um, I just need to, it's not good. She could have started 3 years ago or 6 months. I don't know what that means. She could have what? Oh, that this disease process? Listen, it's a horrible, horrible thing to hear. Yeah, it's horrible. You don't know. None of us know when we live in that netherworld of having survived one form of cancer, whether it will return or whether something else will come in its place or how it is. Um, it's a very, very scary thing. It really is. And I told you, I mean, for me, with this stomach thing that's been going on with me lately, I have thought of it more than once. That could it be? Could it be back in a different way, in a different form? Um, and it's a that's a tough, tough diagnosis. It really is. I mean, it's like somebody giving you a death sentence, and telling you that you're going to be executed, but they're not telling you on what date. So it's hard, and I feel terrible for her. Yeah, probably didn't start with that. Did she have it at the same time, Sandy? I don't remember. I'm really so glad that she has you as a close confidant because it really helps when you have somebody to talk to when you're going through a terrible time. It really does help. Um, yeah. It's interesting. because I was watching Sue's, um, I was watching her latest video. I think it was the latest one, where she was talking about the past and talking about um, change and all of that. And it kind of took me kind of took me down a path. She had it a few years ago. I'm glad that she has good friends locally then that she can interact with because it's so important. It really is. It's like the difference between night and day. It is a hard thing no matter what. I mean, think about it in terms of yourself. If somebody were to say to you, am I feeling better? Now, my stomach is not great. Today was not a great day. I actually went out close to 5 o'clock because I couldn't eat much of anything during the day and I was still nauseous. So I went out and I went to a deli and got myself some matzo ball soup. So I had that, and then I went to the supermarket and I picked up some things. I picked up a rotisserie chicken because I figured at least I could do that. I know, it is sad. It's really sad. It's very hard. Being separated is tough. Although, when you think about it, think about many years ago when people came from Europe or from whatever other place they came from to migrate to the United States, and people left. Hi, Meredith. And they traveled these huge long distances with no expectation of seeing each other anytime soon, sometimes possibly not at all. So that is wonderful. You really have to have good friends because you need somebody to be that voice, that ear, that person that can just be there for you and let you know that you're not alone. Because I think that's the one thing about sickness that really is one of the defining factors of it, is that it separates you from the rest of the world and it makes you feel very alone, as if you're on an island all by yourself. So, yeah, and friends often are more important than, not more important, but more significant sometimes than family when family are so spread apart. And sometimes families are not the closest. They could have better relationships sometimes. So, friends are really important. And yeah, there's no question about it. I think we need to know that if we are in trouble, that somebody cares. Yeah, it just knowing that somebody's there. It's like I said when I was going for my treatments, and Linda went with me. I so did not expect that because I had no idea what I could expect from her because of her own ways of dealing with things, but she was absolutely 100% there for me, and it made going through it so much easier. The part of it that was difficult for me is that she doesn't know how to be emotional support. She just she doesn't have the wherewithal to do it based upon everything in her life. So you do need somebody to lean on. You absolutely do. We all do. My friend at work and I had a good cry together yesterday. Hi, Patty. And we each had a chance to kind of voice the scary part of the place that we are in life and where we're headed. So it's definitely helpful to have somebody else there who who cares? It's as simple as that. So it's really good. And I feel very lucky on that. How did I meet Linda? We actually, many years ago, it goes back probably at least 25 years ago, that I was working in a real estate office, actually with my friend Jackie. Her husband was the broker, Jackie's husband was the broker, and Jackie and I became friends there. I had been there for a good few years when one day this new gal came in, and it was Linda. So Linda was there for a while, and she and I became good friends. And after I left there, she was still there. She wound up coming to my office for a while, though Linda hated real estate always. She absolutely hated it. Linda, well, she hated working. She did not want to work. She wanted to be able to manage her life without having to work. And she really has done very, very well structuring her life in a way that works for her. And I give her incredible credit for it. But that's how she and I met. Ah, yeah. So it was really nice to have that relationship last for so many years. I don't have, I mean, I have acquaintances, but I don't have a lot of close friends. I don't think most people have a lot of close friends. Some people have a lot of close acquaintances, but it's different. Your friends are the people who are diehard. They're there for you no matter what, and they really care. So yeah, it's good to have them. My friend Mary, who has since passed away, was a very close friend of mine from the time I met Mary. No, no, you don't. And it's harder as you get older. The friends that you have and the friends that you meet, it's harder. Sometimes you can get into a relationship and it really is strong, but it's different, and people talk about that all the time, about how it's just not the same the older you get. I mean, Sandy talks about that all the time, about how she's met a lot of people down there. They do things together. Oh, there you are. I thought you weren't there anymore, Sandy. Yes, absolutely. That's wonderful. That really is great if you can have that. And, some people do. David had that for a very long time, but it turned out that one of them in particular was no real friend of his. So it was a kind of a painful thing at the end. I don't know how painful it was for him, but it was very painful for me because I was so attached to that guy that I actually bought 3 mugs when I first moved into this house. One said, "Mom, you do have. That's great." One said David, and one said Michael. And I considered him, to be like extended family. So it was kind of difficult. I mean, it was many, many, many years later, but um, so if friendships really survive all of that, it's great. And then again, so many people's lives take a turn and head in a different direction. Exactly, that's what you were saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny. That really is funny. Um, there's not much any of us can do about it, Marla, and that's the hard part. Wow, that's amazing, Mary. That really is amazing. That's a blessing. The friendship that I had with my girlfriend Mary started when David was a baby. I had him in this great big carriage that I've told you the story about, I believe, where I needed to get the carriage that I never got for my doll when I was a little girl. But I was walking with David down the street one day, late in the afternoon, and Mary was coming from the subway station, which was a block and a half from where we lived. She was my next door neighbor. And we just started chatting, and she was looking at David and talking about how cute he was and whatever. And we just started talking, and then I ran into her a few other times, and we started to talk. We became so incredibly close. I really felt like she was like a sister to me. I mean, we were very attached. People thought of us as a couple in a, I don't mean in that kind of a way, but in the sense that we were always together. I was always going into her house. She didn't really like to leave her apartment too much. So most of the time we would spend in her place. But the only thing that separated us was the incinerator and the elevator. She was on one side of the elevator. I was on the other side, just past the elevator and the incinerator. And then my apartment was on the other side. And we did so many things together. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that is a gift. It really is a gift. And for me, I was devastated. Mary and I stayed very close for, oh my God, it had to be 30 something years. Yeah. Yeah, well, that saying that some people come into our lives for a reason, some come in for a season, and some come for a lifetime. And you can't hold on to people. There has to be that mutual connection that is there. I mean, my mother was so happy about my relationship with Mary because my mother always felt terrible that I didn't have a sister. It really bothered her because she did. She had my aunt, she had two sisters, but the one that she was very close to was my Aunt Yetta, who was only a year younger than she was. And they were really very attached to one another. And that's cute. Um, so Mary and I were very, very close. It was when I was in the hospital many years ago when it turned out I had CMV, the virus, and I was very ill and very ill for a period of easily 6 months more, all told. And when I was in the hospital the last time, Mary had spoken to me on the phone and she told me she was going to be moving to North Carolina. I was devastated. I was devastated. I remember I don't know, there was something on my leg and I accidentally cut my leg. And I have a scar from it to this day that reminds me of that conversation because it was so painful. It was like the other part of me was leaving. But she was feeling very lonely, I guess. She had a difficult life. She really did. She didn't marry until she was in her late 30s. She desperately wanted children. And on her honeymoon, she found out that her husband had cancer. I know. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Exactly. Yeah. But Marla, the truth is we're never alone. We may feel alone, but if we allow ourselves to recognize it, we're never totally alone. But um, with Mary, the reason that she chose to make the move, I think it was during that period of 6 months when I was so sick and I wasn't around much of the time, and she was feeling particularly lonely. Her brother, with whom she had a mixed kind of, yes, it does help. He didn't know. He found out on their honeymoon that he had cancer. I'm trying to remember now. I think he didn't feel well on their honeymoon, and he wound up going to a doctor when he came home, and that's when they found out that he had lung cancer. And he lived for 2 years, and he was sick the whole time, and she never did have the child or children that she wanted. She became very attached to David. It was horrible. It was such a difficult life. I mean, a lot of her life was difficult. She had a brother, and she was a wonderful, wonderful woman. And she, so she had nieces. Yeah, it was tragic. And she had nieces, in particular, one niece that she was extremely close to down in North Carolina. So she decided to move down there to be close to her niece. I think the funny thing is, after she did move down there, and I was devastated at the loss. To me, as I say, it was like losing a huge piece of myself, because truly, when anybody who knew either of us would see one of us, they would ask where the other one was, because we were that close. And as I say, my mother was thrilled. She was so happy that I had somebody who was like a sister. So I had a relationship that my mother always wanted me to have. And when Mary went down there, she stayed for a while, and then her brother had diabetes, and he was very overweight. Exactly. And he was he had lots of problems. He wound up in a nursing home down there. So she had him with her down there. But I don't remember if it was after he died. There was a point at which she wanted to come back. And she wanted to come back. She has passed away. And yes, I mean, I heard from her, but I was, I mean, this sounds terrible, but I was really hurt when she first told me that she was leaving, because she picked a time when I was so vulnerable. I was so sick. And I didn't know whether I was going to live or die at the time. And it was, so, but yes, we were in touch, but she had wanted to come back. And when she wanted to come back, she wanted to come back and she wanted to live with me. I would have liked nothing better than to have her live with me, because, I mean, she was part of me. But at that stage of her life, and the timing was off, because my Aunt Yetta had lived with me after she had lived with my mother here. And then when my mother died, her brother came and got her and took her down to Florida, erroneously believing that I would have thrown her out of the house and she would have had no place to live, which was diametrically opposed to the facts. But he didn't know. And my mother always used to say, he doesn't know us. He doesn't know us. For me, family was family. You were there for family. You were there for family no matter what. They came first. It was just that way. So when my uncle died and my aunt was down there alone, she came up she came up for David's wedding, I believe. And after the wedding, she just stayed with me, and she lived with me until she wound up in the nursing home, because she had that pacemaker that fell out of her body, and I didn't know about it. It was a terrible time. But she lived with me, I'm thinking it was probably about 5 years. And she had died shortly before Mary wanted to come to stay with me. And Mary, at that point, she fell a lot. And I guess she was already not doing well. And every time she fell, they had to get the police to help her up. She was heavier, and Mary fought her weight all her life valiantly. valiantly. I mean, she ate such a restricted diet. She was so good. It was just something she had to live with and she had to deal with. But I knew at that stage that I could not lift her. I could not do it. So there was no way that she could live here with me with, I was at work. I used to work long days at that point, and it killed me. It really killed me. And it was not long after that that she died. And it just broke my heart. It really broke my heart because, as I say, to me, there's no question she was family. And the funny thing is, Mary and I always used to say that if there was a way to reach out after you died and contact people that you cared about in this life, she and I had this thing that we said one would say something and the other would know the answer to that. And of course, she's never come to me, and I was very disappointed because I thought, okay, she did not believe that life existed after you died. She felt that that was it. You died and there was nothing. And maybe she's punishing me by not letting me hear from her. But so that's my Mary story, and I absolutely adored her. I mean, David grew up in her house on her lap. She was like an aunt to him. Next time I come on, I will try to bring some pictures of her. And I had some pictures of her with David when we went to visit him at camp. And, lots of times that we spent together. So it was really special time. And yeah, it was just wonderful. She was a very, very loving soul. I was as much a part of her family as she was of mine. It was just a melding of two, it was like two souls who just knew each other. It's like what happens here sometimes where you feel so attached to somebody that you really don't know or shouldn't know, but you feel as if you've known that person for a very long time and you really care about what happens to them. It's just one of those things where, I don't know, souls connect. But it is very, very scary. The thought of being alone at the end of life is a scary thing. Hi. Oh, it's something that happened a long time ago, Dolores. It was my friend Mary. We were talking about friendships and caring and relationships because talking about a few people who have had some serious medical issues, and it's really scary, and you really need people around you that care about you and people that you care about when you're not well. And you just need to feel like you're not alone. That feeling of separation, I think, is one of the worst feelings in life. I think we are meant as souls to have connections. We're really meant to have connections with each other and to be there for each other, to be, I don't know, the buttress sometimes, just to help. Because getting through this life is just not a picnic all the time. It really is not. And I'm feeling quite nauseous again. I really am hoping that this thing goes away. I'm wondering if those Meals on Wheels were really making me sick because it got to the point where I would eat it and I would want to kill myself because I couldn't stand the way I felt. I actually today, David's father died. He died. He wound up having a brain tumor. So he's got one hell of genetic background here. Um, poo poo poo. So yeah, and that's yeah. So um, yeah, I think again that it is that feeling of aloneness. I remember when she's in limbo until the tests are in. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that her daughter is staying. God, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Absolutely. Prayers are with her absolutely every day. You know, I think that's the difference, generally speaking, with having a son and having a daughter. Because I think, and I know a lot of people do not have wonderful relationships with, absolutely. I think that not everybody has a wonderful relationship with a daughter, and I think that's very sad. But I think, generally speaking, when push comes to shove, it is the daughters who are really there for their mothers more often than the sons. Sons sometimes are. Yeah, it is very hard with a son, and I honestly believe that David really loves me, and he and I have the best relationship that we've had since he's away from home, because it was difficult, certainly in the early years of his marriage. But I adore him. I really believe that he loves me, but it's not the same. He doesn't get my need to put my arms around him and to give him a hug and to want him to give me a hug. And just feeling his presence makes me feel as if I can go on when I feel like I can't. And maybe it's just a male thing where they just don't get it. Yes, absolutely. And I think it's wonderful. And I listen, we are all blessed for what we do have. It is not the same. It's really not the same. Because I think with women, we just understand better that emotional side of everything. Yeah, it really is true. None of us know, because none of us, I read a book many, many years ago. I've read many, many, many books on metaphysics, and I have quite a large library of them now. Yes, it's really true. So, they talk about coming into this life and traveling through the river of forgetfulness, because coming into life, it would be a burden if we had to carry any burdens with us, for those who do believe in that. If you don't believe in that, each of us um, gets through life with the belief system that we have. And I don't want to get into anything deeply, because I know everybody has their own way of thinking about it. But um, I think it's, I remember, yeah, 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 absolutely. I mean, my heart goes out to Madeline, and that's wonderful. You have been very lucky with that, Mary, and it's a gift. It really is a gift. And I think that we just have things that we need to deal with in life. I often think of life as the schoolroom. Really? Aw, yes. Aw, yes. Yeah, having two girls is wonderful. And I told you, my mother was so sad for me that I didn't have a sister, because she knew what it meant to have a sister. Because, my God, you have somebody who really understands it from a female point of view. And once again, yes, he is a gift, no question. When I think of the woman who was my roommate in the rehab, her son came to see her almost every single day how long was I there? Seems like a lifetime. but what, 4 weeks or something like that. He came almost every single day the entire time. Now, admittedly, it could have been guilt that propelled him to come, but he came. And he was his mother's advocate, and he did whatever it was that she needed for him to do to make her life better there. So that was a gift for her too, because she too had two sons. Yeah. Oh, really? Yes. Yeah. Yep. I remember after my mother died, it was not long after, I was sitting in the car, and she and I used to go shopping together all the time to the supermarket. And I've told this story before, so if it drives you crazy, just don't listen for a minute or two. But she would take the cart and lean on the cart, and I always felt like she was doing like a little race around the end cap to the next aisle. And I would always see her coming toward me with the shopping cart. It was almost like a bumper car kind of thing. And it was her outing, and she was spending time with me, and it was really wonderful. Yeah, it's hard when you don't, and it's wonderful when you do. It really is. Oh, today. Yeah. Aw. Um, you're so lucky to have the little ones with you. That's also a gift. I mean, I remember when I had, well, I mean, it was they were close geographically. They went, I don't know, 6, 7 miles away. No, maybe it was 10 miles away. Who knows? But it wasn't far. It was not a long ride, and I could see them, except that I wasn't always made to feel welcome. So it was kind of a mixed bag. And I loved the time that I spent with the kids. Just seeing the world through a child's eyes is the very best. I started to tell you about my mother. I was sitting in the car one day, and I thought all of a sudden I I smelled perfume. It wasn't that she wore perfume a lot, but it was, I knew that the scent of perfume, that she was there, and I felt her presence. And I had an experience with my father once, and I don't remember if I've told you this story. I know I had told you the story about the whole week when he came to me night after night for 7 nights, and he showed me where he was, and he told me how beautiful it was, and he told me that he was fine and that everything was wonderful. And but this was a separate incident that happened years later. I was shopping, big surprise, in Macy's on the Miracle Mile on the North Shore. And I'm so glad that you made it. I'm glad you're here with us, Sarah Linda. And I was walking through the store, and they had like a concession there where they sold hot dogs and drinks and coffee, whatever you wanted to get while you were shopping, which was very clever to keep people in the store longer. And I don't remember if I got a hot dog, but I got a drink. I might have gotten a hot dog too. And uh, but it's wonderful, isn't it wonderful? And I was a dime short for what I had bought. And I'm looking through my handbag, and I couldn't find the dime. And all of a sudden, a dime came careening across from the other end of the counter all the way across and landed in front of me. I looked up for a second, and there was a man who looked just like my father. I gave the woman my dime, and I looked over again, and the man was gone. And I'm getting chills now. The hair is standing up on my arms right now. as I tell you this story because it was the one other time that I had an experience like that, other than that 1 week. But that 1 week that I had that experience from my father changed the rest of my life. He gave me a gift that has stayed with me for all of these years. And my father died a very long time ago. He died young. He died in 1963 on Christmas Eve. And a year later is when all of that happened. I think, well, I think some people are, it's kind of like having a little bit of an open door. And, oh, please don't start, little girl. You just came back. It's 55 years ago. Oh, my Lord. I know. I know. And I have to tell you, when my father showed me where he was, it was beautiful. I know that. I really know that. And I have to tell you, there have been so many. Oh, really? So also a really long time ago. Yeah, but that door makes such a difference. It really makes such a difference. Because once you know that it's not the end, would you forgive me if I let her out? I know, I know. And they just came back before I got on, but it is what it is. My mother never remarried either. I thought about it's Ruby. I thought maybe she wanted picking up, but I'm afraid to let her on my leg. All right, let me see. Let me see what the story is. What's your problem, little girl? I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, I can't leave. This thing is tethered. I have to plug it back in because I was very low on the battery. Okay. Let's go. Listen, little girl. You brought me over here. You better go out. She says, no, thank you. Okay, get up. She didn't go out. I knew she didn't have to go out. She had just gone. She got me into the kitchen and she looked at me like I was crazy. Um, there are many experiences that people have, a lot of them at the end of life, where they will talk about seeing their relatives who have passed over. I know. And she just got me to get up, which is what she wanted me to do. So it is what it is. I would love to have her sitting with me, but the leg is a little bit sore, and I just don't want to take a chance that anything happens to it to make it worse because I am walking better for the most part, and I really want to keep it that way. Um, are you enjoying this conversation, or do you want me to quit? You have to let me know. Yeah, I really should do that. I really should get a cushion. It's yeah, and then if I let her up here, oh, okay. Absolutely bossy. She is that. When I was in the hospital, when I had my CMV, there was a woman who shared my room. I adored her. She and I had an instant connection, instant. And we became very close. And it turned out, I mean, she had pancreatic cancer. She had pancreatic cancer, and they misdiagnosed her. She kept going to doctors for a very long time. I don't remember if it was a year or 2 years, and they misdiagnosed her. Okay. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting, Kathy, because yeah, I have been involved with that myself in the past. But first of all, nobody knew what was wrong with me. And with Mary being as sick as she was worried about me. And it was just the kind of person she was. And she had her daughter bring me a Bible one day. And I just took the Bible and I opened it up. And staring at me on the page was, anything ye shall ask for believing ye shall receive. And the rest of my life since that day, I think about that all the time. And it's really funny because this is going to sound so bizarre. You're going to think I'm really strange if you don't already. There is, for those who are on Poshmark or who visit Poshmark, I don't know if they do this for visitors, but Poshmark, several times a day, they have little quotes that they send you. It is always exactly the message I need to hear. And it's a very bizarre thing. It really is. It's, I wish I could remember what the one was from today. If I can find it, I'll let you know, but it is so strange. It's almost as if I'm getting messages that are important for me to hear, but the vehicle is Poshmark, and it just seems like such a strange thing to do and such an odd way for it to happen. But anyway, getting back to Mary Sia, the woman who shared my room, as it was getting close to the end of her life, she started to see her relatives at the foot of her bed. And they say that that happens where the messages come. They come across my Poshmark app. Whenever I'm on Poshmark on the phone, on the app, the messages come through. Oh, if you're not getting the messages and I'm getting the messages, I'm going to go, ooh, maybe they are just meant for me. Yes, I've had many experiences. I have th- I have yeah, I've had that for a very long time. You got one a few minutes ago? Oh, okay, good. Then I'm not, you know, crazy. It's yeah, they come across and they're words of encouragement. What? Um exactly. Ooh. You don't you don't get messages. Um it's 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 an amazing thing. It really is an amazing thing. I used to see images also sometimes. I just knew things. I've known things from the time that I was very young. Um, I would get a feeling that something bad was going to happen. I've said this before. My mother always said she had woman's intuition. That's what she called it. Her mother before her had the same woman's intuition. and I had it. So, and David has it, not woman's intuition, but he's got this thing where he knows also. So, um, there were just many times when I knew something was going to happen, or if bad things happened and I didn't want to know it. And in the early days, I used to get a lot of messages, if you will, through dreams. And I didn't want them because I would see plane crashes, and I was always on the plane in my dream, and I saw exactly how it happened. And and then I would, the next day or 2 days later, the next day or the day after that, there would be a plane crash, and it would be just what I had seen. Um, there's probably a little element of that also, Lauren. Yeah. For me, I think it started after my Uncle Harry died, but then again, maybe not. Now, don't make any nasty remarks, folks. But when I fell on my head when I was 3 years old, when my aunt had me, and I fell off the side of the sliding pond, and in those days, they did not have the soft, cushiony ground. It was concrete. I landed on my head, and everybody thought that I was dead. Well, I was unconscious, and maybe that was the start of it. I don't know. All I know is that it started when I was young, and the messages came. I mean, I knew about Waco before it happened. I didn't know Waco existed as a place. I'd never heard of it, but I saw the whole thing with the fire and the everything. And I knew about the Berlin Wall. There were so many things that I knew ahead of time, and I knew this was a bizarre one. This one came to me in a dream where I was reading a headline in a paper, and the headline was about Jet Travolta. And I got up the next morning and I spoke to my friend Linda and I said, I dreamt about Jet Travolta. And that day he died. And it was really, I should work for the, yeah. Actually, I used to do readings. And people, I never wanted to do it. I never chose to do it. People would ask me to do it and I would get kind of pulled into it. My difficulty with doing it was that I always wondered if I gave enough. I was always fearful that I wouldn't be giving enough. But people always said that they were amazed. Yeah, because I think we do, because we do get messages. I believe that we all have guardian angels. We have angels that are with us from before we are born until we die, and probably after. And we get messages, whether it's a feeling, whether it's a pit of your stomach feeling. It is that. Does she help locate people? I have to tell you, I have to tell you that there are many times when somebody has disappeared, or when somebody is talking on television about something that happened, and they'll be talking about the thing as if they're really upset about it, and I'll know that they're lying, that what they're saying is not true, and that they're involved in this thing. So, yeah, that's kind of a disturbing thing that happens. But yeah, um, they did. There was a woman who used to work with us who had me come over to her house a few times, and she had a party, and I was doing readings, so I sat in her basement for maybe 5 hours, and I said I didn't want to know the people's names. I didn't want to know anything, because I wanted it to be whatever information was really there and coming through. And I remember once I was visiting, David had a girlfriend at the time. He was young, and her parents had invited me over, my extra income. But I see, I would feel guilty doing that. It's been a while, and well, there are so many stories. This one time I was sitting at their house, and there was this girl who was introduced to me. I had never met her before. I didn't know her, but I could feel such a heaviness coming from her, and I knew something was terribly wrong. And David's girlfriend knew that I did this or I could do this, and she said, "Jerry, try to read for her, see what you get." And I said, "I don't feel comfortable doing it. I don't know." And she said, "Please." And I said, "Okay." I said, "I'll just tell you what I see." And all of a sudden I saw it, and I remember the image today, because the way I get messages is I see an image, and sometimes I'll get initials or things like that or whatever. But the image that I saw was of somebody getting up and walking away from a tombstone. And I told her about it, and she started to cry because her father had died, and she could not get past his death for months because she kept seeing him cold in the ground. Oh, God. Yeah, right. It is amazing. There is information that is available to us all. It's kind of like anything that any of us has. We all have gifts in different ways. Some people play the piano beautifully. Some people have a wonderful voice. Some people are dancers. Some people are brilliant. Whatever the gift is, we all have the ability to a lesser or greater degree, but we have to develop it. There was an old woman psychic medium who was unbelievable back in the day. And she looked at me one day and she said to me, "You could be doing what I'm doing. Why don't you do it?" And she said, "All you have to do is develop it some more. You have to develop it. You really do." And I did. And I used to do a lot of meditation, but I've pulled myself away from that. And I don't know. Aw, good night, Mary. Take care. I'm glad you were able to join us. Yeah, that is, these are warnings that we do get. Yeah. Yeah, it's all very it seems strange to us, but it's not strange at all. It's really not. Take care, Mary. And I'm so happy you're so blessed. I know, and that's just the thing, because you don't know, because there is no frame of reference until the thing happens. And that kind of thing. The day I was sitting in the hospital in the coffee shop with my mother one day, I worked there at the hospital. And my mother turned to me and she said to me, "You have to go to the dentist." And I said, "There's nothing wrong. Is something wrong?" Oh, um, so I didn't think anything of it at the time. And that day, I felt the strangest pulling on, it's totally unrelated, but this pulling down on my toe, the middle toe of my right foot. And I said, "What the heck is that?" And it didn't stop. And the next day, I got the most god awful toothache. And I said, "Oh my Lord, it is the same thing. My mother just knew. She just knew things. When I was in the hospital with when they were trying to figure out about the CMV, they were wanting to take me to surgery to take out a lymph node in my neck. I had a lymph node that was enlarged, and they thought I might have had Hodgkin's lymphoma and non-Hodgkin's, is that what it is? And it was there for a very long time, for years. And the day that my mother came to see me, the day before they wanted to do the surgery, my mother said, "You can't go into surgery. No, you can't do this." Well, hell, if my mother said you can't do this, there was no way that I was doing it because she knew something that the doctors did not know. That night, I took that Bible and that page that said, "Anything you shall ask for, believing, you shall receive." And I prayed that the lymph node would disappear, that that the swelling of it would go down. By the next morning, when the doctor came in to examine me, it was barely there. They couldn't even feel it. And it had been there for probably 5 or 6 years. So that was another one of the things. There have been some really miraculous things that have happened. So yeah, I mean, it just it just shows you that what we see or what we sense with our five senses is not everything that there is, that there's more. There's more to this life, and there's more to the life that we leave this life to go to. I just wish my friend Mary had come to me so that I could have said to her, "You see, I told you." We are absolutely, it's in God's time, and it's, yes, yes, I feel, there have been times when people have said things to me, and I've said, somebody said to me once, oh, years and years ago, "You must feel very powerful having this knowledge." And I said, "It's exactly, I have, yeah, yeah, they can." You're exactly right, Erlinda, because they have not yet come to the point where, well, the world tells you not to believe those things and not to see it. And yeah, so that we are trained, it's ingrained in us not to believe. Exactly. That look, that look in a baby's eyes, and that innocence, and that the world is a bright, beautiful, brand new place. And I just love everything about it. When you see a baby laugh at the slightest provocation, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. I always say, if we could only see the world through a child's eyes, what a wonderful and beautiful world this would be. Sadly, I have to tell you, I don't want to. I really don't want to, because if the news is bad, I don't want to know it. But I have to tell you, for months before the diagnosis, I was seeing something that I knew was for myself, but I was ignoring it, as I tend to do when I get messages for myself. Well, the way I see, when somebody is going through a bad time in their lives, or they're about to face a difficult time, the way I see it is, it's like black clouds going around the periphery of my eyes. My eyes can be closed, my eyes can be open. I see it. If I see it on my left eye, mostly it's from the past. If I see it mostly from the right eye, it's going into the future. From what I was seeing, and I wasn't reading anybody, I wasn't doing it. What I was seeing was lots of these twirling black clouds all around the frame of my vision. And I kept thinking, this is for me. And what that means, my perception of it, and the message that the way I translate it, is it means that there is going to be some serious turmoil in your life. And sure enough, that was it. Hello from Dallas. So it was, I knew, but I didn't want to know. Did you? Yeah. That, that is, I have to tell you though, I started to see it again recently, not the same way. It's very scary. It is very scary when you see it for yourself, because who wants that? I don't want to see it when it's bad for anybody else, but if I see it and it's bad for somebody else, oh, thank you. And if I see it for somebody else, if they can do something to make it better, then it's a gift because I can share with them and they can do something that's going to make it better. But I ignored mine. I also got a message. I got more than one message. I got a message in June of 1987 that there was going to be a break in the stock market. The message that was given to me was that it was going to be in October. That was the message. I ignored it. I was heavily invested in the market at the time, and I was margined to the hilt because I had just started in real estate and I was living on the income that I had from the stocks plus whatever else I had. And I got another message, I think it was in September. And the message was very strong at that point. And the message was there will be a free fall in the market October 19th, but you have plenty of time to sell and buy back at bargain prices. I didn't believe it. I ignored it. Came October 19th. The entire day, they kept referring to it as a free fall. Those were the words I got. There will be a free fall in the market. I had never in my entire life heard that in relation to the market. It was October 19th. And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And by not, I mean, I was given direct information. Had I acted on it, I would have been in great shape. So, yeah, because I kept thinking it was coming from my head. I was imagining this. I didn't always trust the messages because I wondered if I was, you know, I know, oh, I know, but at the time I was doing well. And again, it was because I had just started in real estate. I had no income coming in. My mother had died in July of 2000. Wait a minute. No, no, no. No, she died in, I'm not talking about 2008. I'm talking about 1987. The It was the stock market in 1987. That was the big crash of 87. That was bad. That was really bad. So, um, yeah, but the message could not have been more distinct, and I totally ignored it because I didn't believe. But I started to tell you, I get a little bit of that, the clouds, but they're different. It's not the intense, it's not dark gray, it's not like big turmoil. It's like these clouds are falling away and it's dropping away from my vision. And I said to Linda one day, I said, I don't know what that means. It either means that this is going away or it means I'm going to die. And I said, I'm just not sure um, what it means. And I just choose not to look into it any deeper than that because if it's bad news, I don't want to know. I really don't want to know. It's hard enough dealing with it when it's here. Of course, had I paid attention to it at the time, I would have not believed the doctor so completely when he told me that there was nothing wrong with me, that what I had was benign and nothing to be concerned about. Um, yeah, I should have paid attention. And again, there were many, many times, many incidents, many readings, and some people seem to be really, really helped. That girl that I read at David's girlfriend's parents' house that day, when I told her I saw that vision of somebody walking away from the tombstone, thank you. She said to me that I made such a difference in her life. Aw, thank you. Um, that, oh God, you're going to make me cry. That she pictured her father in that casket in the cold ground. And that was a vision she couldn't stand. So by them showing me the vision of somebody walking away from there, and I said to her, he's not there. He's not there. When the souls are around? Aw, aw. Yeah, that's great. Some people are afraid of it. I am not afraid of it at all. The funny thing is, even when I was a tiny little girl, my father's mother was much older, and she died when I was 4 years old. And the night that she died, her body was in the house, and we slept over. And there were a lot of people sleeping there that night, and it was a big apartment, but still there were a lot of people there. So the only place left for me to sleep, now that I think about it, it's really funny because it was on two chairs that they put together and made a bed for me. And the chair, actually, now that I think about it, I think it reminds me of this chair a little bit because I think it was a dark chair like this. I loved the dark. I felt very warm and cozy in the dark. My brother Marty, who was older than I was afraid of the dark. He hated the dark. And so for me, when the lights went out, I don't know whether I felt that I was protected or I was in a really safe place, but I did. So it was, I guess it was always there. It was always there on some level. And yeah, I mean, there were so many, many experiences. You had a bad dream? Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. Um, yeah, interesting. Interesting talk. I always surprised when the conversation winds up going in a completely different direction than I would have expected it to go in. So, yeah, I think, yeah, oh, I started to tell you, I have not had that I can recall. I do remember when I was a young girl having a dream that a gorilla was chasing me, and they had these manhole covers, and I fell through the manhole cover, and I was down in a basement, and he was still chasing me, so it was something with that. What did I start to say that I wanted to finish a thought that I had before? Aw, aw, oh, how sad. That is sad. Wow. Um, God, I don't remember. I really had wanted to tell you something, and the thought is gone. Oh, yeah, no, the Crossroads. I have decided that I am not going to be doing the lives every night anymore. It's killing my channel. It's just killing my channel. Can I tell you what? The young girl, the young girl that I was reading. I can't remember. It's gone for the moment. I have always been afraid to talk about this on my channel because I didn't want to upset people who um, who find this disturbing. So it's taken me a very long time to really open up. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it a few times a week because I have got to get back to doing my regular videos. I'm not stopping doing them. I just, at least, let me put it this way. I'm going to try to stay away because I don't want to lose my channel. I really don't want to lose my channel. And I am losing followers quite a bit. Um, and I don't know, I don't know, I don't know how to handle it any other way. I don't know. Would it be safe to talk about some of the, I don't know, some of this stuff because of no new content, right? Yeah, I can do it more than once a week. I can probably do it maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but I can't, I've got to get back to my regular videos because I'm really hurting myself. No, no, they used to, they used to, but they don't come to the lives. They used to. The wig review. I know, and I have to tell you, I would love nothing more than to do wig reviews again that talk just about it. I miss those too. I really do. I wish that I could do that. I think, you know something, I think I am going to just get into some, look, if I lose people, I lose people, right? I mean, if I lose people because of who I am, then maybe they're not really meant to be there with me anyway. So I think maybe that's the road. Yes, I did that today, and that will be up tomorrow. Yes, I definitely want to do that. Yeah, and maybe if I talk about it, maybe that will help some people too. Oh, income is definitely a part of it because if you have the followers, then you can. This is the video that I did today, so you'll see me putting it on. You'll see the entire process, and it looked pretty awful when I was doing it. And I share with you how crappy it looked. So you'll see the whole, what I said in my video today is that I am willing to fail, and I'm willing to fail in public because it's real. Sometimes you're going to be good, and sometimes you're not going to be good. You know what it kind of reminds me of? It's like Oh, good. Thank you. I'm glad that you will. I think I have made that decision. And, you know, listen, it may serve me well and it may destroy me. And whatever it is. But it's real and it's me and it's who I am. And who knows, maybe something will come up for newbies going into wigs. I am going to do that, and I'm going to do the wig washing thing and caring for the wigs also. How hot? Well, you have to really, the people who have, I mean, the people who have more than 10,000 viewers do a whole heck of a lot better. A different subject. You mean on the lives? But nobody's coming to watch the lives. I was getting up there. I was getting 900 views, 1,000 views, more than 1,000 views. Some I was getting 1,500 views. And when I started to do the lives, I just wasn't getting it. And yes, I can do that. I'm going to start to do that some more also. But I need to get a different kind of that the reason I haven't done it is I need to get it's a small on my regular videos. It's a small what do you call it? Like a selfie stick, but it's a combination selfie stick. Um, what do you call it? Yeah, I think the 10,000 is a magic number, and I went from growing in a decent way to really regressing in it. Do I? I just it's gotta get back to where it was. I know there are a lot of people doing the wig stuff now, and I told you there was that woman who was going to be sending me wigs, and something happened with that. So maybe she's sending them to somebody else. I don't know. Yeah, I know. And I think I'm going to rename this video, Talk About Life When I've Wished Up. I have nice, oh, when I've wised up. Oh, um, thanks a lot. I just, um, I just want to serve a purpose. I really want to serve a purpose. You know, the video that I did about the MRI and how terrifying an MRI could be for people. When I was going to have mine, I know. And that was why I wanted to do it, because I wanted to. No, I do not. Um, you do know that we are G-rated here? I don't know what that means. Okay, thanks. Um, so, oh God, now I lost my train of thought again. Oh, no, not with the wig videos. I really wanted to be able to do it because, oh no, that was it. It was about the going in for the MRI. I went to YouTube because I go to YouTube to learn everything. And I went to YouTube before I went for my MRI because I was nervous and I wanted it to make me feel better. And what it did was it terrified me because every video that I saw from a person who had gone through an MRI was from people who were terrified and had horrible experiences. So when I did finally have my MRI and I was able to say, hey, listen, you can do this. You can get through it. There are so many ways you can do it. and here are the things that worked for me. And I've had people a year later write messages to me telling me that it helped them. And that was my feeling from the start, from when I got on here. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted, if I made one person's life better for a minute, that was wonderful. It takes a lot of views. I know. Oh, no, it's not enough to survive. I didn't mean that. No, it's enough to survive for a lot of people when they are really up there. And then you have all kinds of other things that you can get involved with too. I just meant as added income because at this point, obviously I need it from wherever it comes. And it is really true because I possibly could do the readings, but that I've thought about it, but I always dismiss it immediately because I always felt somehow as if it was not right for me. I never wanted to do it. And people would say to me, but I want you to. I went to somebody years ago who was very well known in this area and very highly thought of. And I was sitting with him for 5 minutes and he said to me, why aren't you doing this? And he said, I could send you some of the people I can't handle. So it is what it is. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where I fit in the world at this point because the place that I knew existed for me was a different place. Yeah. And I think it does make a difference. Oh, there are some who do and some who don't. Never, 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 never for me. Never for me, Denise. It is always with a prayer said, with surrounding myself with a white light. I always say a prayer before I do it, and it would never be. It is, I truly believe it is from God. And I started to say, that was what I started to say, that somebody said to me many years ago, you must feel very powerful, that you have this gift. And I said, quite the contrary. I feel very, very humble. And I feel as if I have no gift whatsoever. Some entity, somebody is choosing to send me messages. I don't know anything. That's probably true. It probably is true, Susan, that I probably would have it open more talking about it because I've shut it off for quite a long time now. I really have. And I've done my very best. I mean, I still, yeah, and I have certainly tried to do that, but a lot of people don't want to hear about all that stuff. Yeah. I felt whenever I did it, and at the end of the reading, when they would hand me the money, I felt unclean somehow. I really, I just, I think it's got a purpose. It's got a purpose. I would never do anything that I felt, yeah, yeah, and the people were always really happy, and so many of the times they would say, "She told you, didn't she?" I didn't even know the name of the person. Sometimes the messages I got were really inane, but it let the people I was reading know that I was really getting it. Yeah. This was something that, yeah, I have to figure it out, but I do have to survive. So I have to figure that out too. I just don't know. I just really don't know. I have to give it a lot of thought. I do, believe me, I pray and I meditate on it, although I've not been as good with the meditation lately because of the way I feel and the stress. It's really hard to meditate when um, the people that I did it for really seemed very happy. I told you, I think, about that one time when it was after my mother died, and I had set up an appointment with a psychic. I set up the appointment a year before. That's how booked this woman was. A year it took me to get the appointment. And the appointment was a couple of weeks after my mother died, and I didn't want to do it. I wanted to cancel. And the people that I had coming over begged me, yeah, right. Yeah, I should do that. And then I should tell them, yeah, to light 58 candles and to give me money that I'm going to put in all that crazy stuff that they do. Poo poo poo. That's the problem because they're a charlatans that it makes it hard for people to believe. Um, but, oh, shoot. Where was I headed? I lost it again. Don't remember where I was headed. Oh, at the party, some boho outfits. Yeah, I have to get rid of some of the stuff that I've got on there before I do. Oh, you mean to wear? Um, yeah, um, so they came to the party, and of course I was in no mood for any of this. And the woman started reading the people who came, and she was horrible. She could not have been real. She was, yeah, thanks. She, no, I would have to be myself. I could not do it any other way. I don't know how to be anything other than who I am. I don't like deception. I have no tolerance for lies, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So, put shoes on. I did put some shoes on. Oh, okay. No, I didn't think that you were serious. I thought you were kidding around. Um, yeah, so after reading a couple of people, the woman left because she was just so bad, nobody wanted her to read them. So after she left, this girl who used to live in the building that I lived in before I moved to the house, and don't forget, my mother only lived a few months while I was here, so I was new to this place. And I was sitting here, and this girl from the building said to me, "Why don't you read everybody?" And I said, "Are you crazy?" I said, I can't do that." And she said to me, "I know you can." It was very weird. And this was somebody I was not close with. As a matter of fact, we had a little bit of an antagonistic relationship. She she was a little bit different. And so I said, I'll give it a try because I felt bad for everybody who came, and then there was nothing for them to enjoy. So the very first person that they sent into a room with me to read was this girl I had never met. I didn't know anything about her. And I think I've told this story before, where I was sitting with her, and the way that I used to do my readings when it was in person was I would hold keys usually, because keys, when somebody, it's their keys, they have a lot of interaction with it. So there is a lot of energy in it. And I would hold the keys and I would close my eyes and I would see what I would see. And I'm sitting in the room with this girl and I'm closing my eyes and I'm seeing nothing. Zero, zip, nothing. All I saw was black. And I thought, well, this is an auspicious beginning. So I suddenly looked at her and I said, "Are you depressed by any chance?" And she looked at me and she said, "I'm clinically depressed." The minute she said that, I started to see all kinds of visions. And the thing that I saw was a man with a woman standing in front of him, and the woman in front of him had a long neck and she was wearing a fur. And I said, there is a man who cares a great deal for you, and he's there for you. I said, I don't know who he is and I don't know what this means, but I see a woman in front of him with a long neck wearing a fur. And she looked at me and she said to me, I know who you're talking about. He's a furrier. And once again, it gives me goosebumps even to this day because that was the start of it. So then I started reading people because this woman from the building I used to live in told me I could do it. There's a spider getting your son. So that's the story. And look how long this has gone again tonight. So, okay, what I'm going to try to do with the video that I did, if it's okay with all of you, if you like it. Were you serious about that, Ange? But if you're okay with it, true story. The true stories are always good stories. Oh, there are a lot of people who have online psychic business. Yeah, there are a lot of people who do it. The problem with it is it's tainted by, you know, 1-800 dial a psychic, whatever the heck it is. It feels so phony. But the thing is, I would worry, what if I don't get anything? What if nothing happens? What if I don't get a message? You know, aw, is there a problem with the spider there? Don't leave yet, Ange, because I have a question I want to ask everybody. And that is, if tomorrow I decide to do tonight's video that I still have to upload, if I decide to do it as a premiere tomorrow night, would you like to come and share that experience with me? Because Sheila had suggested it. So tell me what you think. Do you think it's a good idea, or would you rather I just put it up the way I typically do and that's it? So help me decide. Yes, do it. Because at least we can interact during it. It's a little bit tedious while I'm doing my makeup and my skincare, and I do talk about a whole bunch of that stuff, so that's good. But yeah, I think I am going to go down the road of my truth, my real life, the world that I live in. So that's my story. Oh, believe me, every single thing that I do, yes, I will plan. How about if I plan on doing it? Did you like the time that she did hers? Would you want to try 8 o'clock tomorrow night? Is that a good time for everybody? Because I'll do that. I'll upload it and I'll set it for 8 o'clock if that works for everybody. I know that's late for Ange because that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's kind of tough. But for a lot of you, maybe 9. Okay, so let me say I will do it at 9 o'clock. Is that okay with everybody? Because of the West Coasters, right? Yeah. But what I started to say before is there is not a thing that I do in my life where God is not part of it. So It's not going to be a live video. It's going to be the video that I did today. But, aw, thanks, Ron. But I will be on chatting with you. So it will be sort of like that. And I think, yeah, and I think what I'm going to set up moderators. Okay, you want to be a moderator? How do I set it up though? I'm not sure how to do that. I don't know that I'm all that proficient at that kind of stuff. What were those things that I was seeing on Sheila's where we all had wrenches? What was that? I saw wrenches next to everybody's name. I'm not sure what that is about. I don't know. Okay. All right, let me try to figure out how to do the moderator stuff. And yeah, so I'll load it. I'm guessing I'm probably not going to load it tonight. I'm tired, but I'll load it in the morning. And then I have to do my little things that I do. The moderators, right? I'm going to try to figure it out. Is that what the wrenches are? Because there were wrenches by everybody's name that I saw today. So yeah, I'll announce the premiere for 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and we can take it from there. So it'll be a start. And again, believe me, it's not that I don't want to be here with you, but I really don't want my channel to die. And I feel like I'm watching it die a slow death. So I'm going to try to mitigate it. Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, we definitely can, you'll help me figure it out. And that'll be good. So, and as I say, I'm not leaving this venue. But in order to do the others, I can't do this every night. I just can't do it every night. Because then what happens is something falls by the wayside. I have to work on the things that, even if they bring me a tiny bit of money, I have to work on those. I have to go into the office in the hopes that maybe something will happen. I have to get the house ready in case I have to sell it or rent it or share it or what. I have so much on my plate right now. I feel like I feel like I I feel like I would like to be what's her name? Not Sabrina. Samantha. And I'd like to twitch my nose and make it happen because there's just too much and a lot of it is tedious. I haven't done a single design in days and days. I used to design at least one thing every day. And it's I can only do so much. I only have so much stamina, and the pressure of all of this is so wearing. I fear that it will harm my health. I really do. So I'm going to see where this leads me. So that was the Crossroads, but I'm going to change the title, I think, of tonight's video. Well, maybe I'll leave that and just add something about the other things, the serious things that we talked about the other side of life, the side that we don't see and feel with our hands or smell or taste, but they're there just as real. So that's it. It's been a long one tonight, and I thank you for being there, and we'll see how it goes. Take care. You will, Patty, you definitely will. I'm going to be doing the thing tomorrow night, and I will come back in a day or two after that to do one of these. So take care, everybody, and have a good night. And reach out to me anytime if you want to talk, if you have anything to say, if you feel like you really need to have one of these. just get in touch and say, hey, could you do it? And I'll do it. Okay. All right, Erlinda, take care. Have a good night, and I love you all.